Hello everyone, and welcome to AEW Discussion. I'm your host in AEW Tuesdays, Dougie Doug, and today's episode I'm going to be discussing Dynamite, July 12th, 2023 edition. And this edition of Dynamite would see the blind eliminator tournament for the tag team for the tag team titles continue with Adam Cole and MJF. Well, AEW might not have intended it for them to be as great of a pairing as they are, but they certainly have turned into that. And with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the action, starting with Orange Cassidy and Sammy Guevara Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. So Guevara may want nothing to do with the Jericho Appreciation Society at this point, but he will have to be team of Garcia for at least one more week after the duo upset Cassidy and Allin in the semifinals of the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament. Strickland continued his rivalry with Allin, interfering and costing him the match, while Guevara's act of guilt seemingly after the match by extending his hand to Allin hinted that perhaps Guevara is indeed switching up his character. So the match overall was a fun one. The pace was fast, the crowd was hot, and the chemistry was on full display. The finish was solid. It enhanced an ongoing rivalry, and it set the stage for potential revenge on the part of Allin later on the show when Strickland battles Allin's protege, Nick Wayne. Revenge that was ultimately not had. Adam Cole and MJF versus Big Bill and Brian Cage. So despite MJF trying to get out of this match, he did not. And instead, he did pull off a quite remarkable body slam on Big Bill. And Adam Cole and MJF, perhaps unexpectedly, have turned into a great mismatch pairing, and their momentum continued to roll on Wednesday as they would defeat Big Bill and Brian Cage. And the match was solid, the post-match promo was fun, and the company may have very well locked into a pairing that is getting over just in time for these two to inevitably go their separate ways and set up that inevitable championship clash at All In, MJF versus Adam Cole for the world title. So the most interesting development from this week is the way that MJF, purposely or not, is creating tension between Cole and Britt Baker and Roderick Strong, and perhaps this is how MJF screws over Cole by driving that wedge between those that he cares about most. We'll be quite curious to see how the turn happens. It's most likely MJF turns on Cole first, but it will be quite interesting to see how that one plays out. And the bigger question is, do these guys win the tournament? Or do they fall short? That would be certainly an interesting thing to see how that plays out. But nonetheless, getting MJF on TV every week has been a treat to watch, and pairing him with Adam Cole has made it even more enjoyable. And then you have the debut of Nick Wayne versus Strickland, and this was a strong introduction to a young competitor that Tony Khan and AEW hope will be a foundational player for the company well into the future, and he could not have been in there with a more giving, selfless worker than Strickland, somebody that he has worked with previously in the independents. That match, also the match intensified the rivalry between Allin and Swerve, so a nice little added bonus. Nick Wayne does not win his debut match, but it was still a pretty solid showing for him, and I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what he does next. And then you have the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club announcing their 5th teammates for Blood and Guts. So Kota Ibushi is coming to AEW. He was announced as the 5th member of the Elite for the Blood and Guts match, reforming the Golden Elite with Omega, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Page in the war with the Blackpool Combat Club. John Moxley, Konosuke Takeshita, and Don Callis revealed Wednesday that Pac will join the BCC as that team's 5th competitor, rekindling the Bastards company long feud with Omega. So despite coming in late, Ibushi's arrival is still a big deal for AEW. His debut next week will be a big deal. Now, where the story goes from there, and if it benefits anyone under the Golden Elite, will certainly be a question that will be answered. But for now, it looks like we have a highly anticipated. For now, the highly anticipated Blood and Guts match has certainly gotten that much more interesting with the new additions to each team. Now the question is, does Pac stay with the BCC afterwards? Does he join the Don Callis family, or does he just simply, or is this just a one-off? That's another question that is to be answered. So in conclusion, this was the best episode of Dynamite in weeks. Every segment meant something, every vignette built to something else, and there appeared to be more focus on this show than there had been in recent broadcasts, and maybe that is due to the company understanding that they have a significant show coming up next week, so they're trying to ramp up the hype for that, or maybe it's because All In, it is, they're getting closer to All In. We're still in July, All In's not to the end of August, but certainly it's a big show coming up at Wembley Stadium in London. Whatever the case, this was a show where there was clearly a vision, with stories that Tony Khan and the creative team wanted to get over. There was the Jericho dilemma. He still hasn't decided if he's joining the Don Callis family. There was Nick Wayne's debut. More great stuff from Adam Cole and MJF. More dissension between Rivera and Garcia. And a major reveal to close off the night. So mixed in were the latest with QT Marshall and Harley Carmen. Mixed in between were QT Marshall and Harley Carmen's ongoing rivalry to claim, Hook's never-ending pursuit of Jack Perry, and Jake Hager's hesitancy to commit to the Jericho Appreciation Society when the Ojo himself will not. There was a lot to like about the show, and hopefully the company can keep the momentum going coming out of it into Blood and Guts, which is a significant show coming up. And if you like blood and violence, should be a good show. If not, well, maybe skip it or buckle up. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Blood and Guts. Be interesting to see how that one plays out, who wins that match, and if that really is going to be the end. I mean, Blood and Guts should be the end of it, but I think, as we all know from past experience, you can't trust Tony Khan to walk away from a rivalry when he should. And with that will conclude this episode of AEW Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.